may be useful. So today's lecture we'll look at magnetically coupled circuits, just an extension of what we saw last this thing. So the way we will look at magnetically coupled circuits is through series of example problems, and then we'll try to work it out and then see how it works. Okay. So the first example I'm giving is very simple. You actually it's a case where there is no magnetically coupling between two circuits or two coils. Okay. So imagine a circuit like this. So this is the first problem, and then there is a voltage supply. So let's consider 100 volts. Okay. Now just for ease of calculation, so I am assuming omega equal to 300 radians per second. Okay. So normally you are used to seeing omega is nothing but 2 pi f. So if f is 50 hertz, then approximately you will get omega is 314. Okay, 314 is a typical number that you come across. Or if it is 60 hertz, then omega is 2 into pi into 60, you will get 377, something like that. Normally in textbooks it will be there. Just for ease of calculation, I am assuming omega is 300, so this one we will not consider. Okay. So it's an AC supply, 100 volt RMS voltage, and 300 radians per second is the angular frequency or whatever, omega value. Okay. Now the inductance of this is 20 millihenries, and the inductance of this is 30 millihenries, and two inductances are connected in series. Okay. The question is, what is the current? Okay. So I'll write small I. So what is the current flowing in the circuit? Okay. So all the problems will be the same format. All the time I will be asking what is the current flowing in some part of the circuit. Okay. This you know, it is very easy for you. You can solve it right away. Okay. So how do I'll do it for you. I'll not even bother for you to do it. So what is the first step? How do you find how much is the current in the circuit? First is this is inductance. Convert the inductance into reactance. Okay. So X1 is nothing but omega into L1. Okay. So 300 into 20 millihenry. Okay. 20 millihenry. So you will get zeros are cancelled. Okay. And 3 into 2 with the milli. Okay. So milli is 10 power minus 3. So it will get cancelled. So it is J6 ohms. Okay. So this is X1. Okay. So why did I put J? So that you already know. Actually this is strictly speaking Jo into omega into L. So J is a phasor operator. We are putting J just to signify that when the voltage is 100 volts, and when you it's completely real voltage. It's when you multiply with this one, the voltage drop will be 90 degrees lagging. So the J signifies 90 degrees. X2, I'll write it. So 30 milli into 300, 9 ohms. So J9. Okay. So what is X total? So nothing but X1 plus X2 because they are in series. And importantly, there is no magnetic coupling between these two. So magnetically they are not coupled. Okay. So therefore what is XT? So just addition. So you will get it J6 plus J9, J15 ohms. And now if I want to find out the current, nothing but simple Ohm's law. Current is V by Z. Okay. Voltage by impedance. So voltage is 100, 0 degrees, and impedance is J15. Okay. Okay. So there is no resistance, so it makes our life easy. So I can simply divide this. So what is 100 by 15? So 6 point something, right? 6.67 minus 90 degrees. Okay. So plus J goes to the numerator, it becomes minus J. minus j signifies minus 90 degrees if you write it in the polar form. So all these things you know already. This is amperes. Okay. So this is about the first plain example. Okay, problem 1, and this is the answer for problem 1. Okay. So I hope you are okay up to here. This already we studied last semester itself. Okay. So now what I will do is go to problem number 2. Okay. So in problem number 2, so imagine that these two coils are like slightly apart and they are not interacting magnetically. So whenever the alternating current is flowing, there is a flux here, some magnetic flux is there, etc. Now I'll bring these two together and also I'll introduce some kind of a core. Okay. So some kind of a magnetic core I'll introduce between them. Okay. Now the role of this core is whatever flux which used to associate with only coil 1 is now also traveling and then also getting associated with or linking with the coil 2 also. Okay. Similarly, the flux of coil 2 is now linking with the coil 1 also. So therefore, there will be some more voltage drops. Okay. The voltage drop because of the flux of coil 1 with the coil 1 itself is due to the self inductance. That is one voltage drop. Similarly, there will be voltage drop in coil 1 because of the flux of coil 2. Similarly, there will be voltage drop in coil 2 because of flux of coil 1, and then voltage drop in coil 2 because of flux of coil 2 itself. So all this voltage will be there. But if you add that, all the voltage we add still add to 100 volts. But there will be more amount of drops. Okay. So how do you make sense of it is that the current will reduce. Okay. So just because you introduced a core, you increasing the inductance and the current will be reduced. Okay. So let us see how it is. Okay. So for the time being, let's assume that this is not changing. 20 millihenries remains 20 millihenries or like that. Introducing this core is introducing some kind of coupling between these two, and last time we have seen coupling factor. So coupling factor something like K, let's say it is 0.4. Okay. So just I am approximately assuming. Okay. So actually it should be 0.41 for example. Why I chosen 0.41 you will just immediately know it once we go forward. So what is actually this K? K is nothing but ratio of M by square root of L1 and L2. Okay. If there are two inductors of individual inductances L1, L2, and M is the mutual inductance between them. Okay. And if you take the ratio, you will know what K is. Okay. So in this case, actually I can do reverse calculation to find out what is M. So 0.41 equal to M divided by square root of, so this is 20 millihenry and 30 millihenry. Okay. So 20 milli into 30 milli. Okay. So based on this, can you tell what is M? See, if there is a milli under square root, so I can take that milli outside. Okay. Only 1 milli will be there. Similarly, if there are two zeros, I can take 0 outside, only 1 0 will be there. Okay. So basically into 10 that means. So it is something multiplied by square root of, something multiplied by 10 millihenries. So 2 into 3 is 6, square root of 6. How much is square root of 6? So 2.449, okay, into 10 millihenries, or I could say 24 point, so I'll just write 24.5 millihenries. I just calculated that way. Now this one you multiply with 0.41, how much do you get it? 24.5 into 0.41. How much? 10? Okay, so you get M equal to 10 millihenries. Okay, I just chosen the value of K such that it is a easier number to do calculations. Okay, so this all about, now you know that the stronger the coupling is there, that means you use distance wise you keep them very close and then wind them, so you can actually get higher value of K by overlapping these two coils. Electrically they are not connected, but physically they are overlapping on each other, then you will get higher value of K and all these things. So K value you can keep changing 0 to 1 kind of thing. Anyway, so to cut the long story short, so I'll just say mutual coupling M equal to 10 millihenries, okay, approximately. Okay, now so now I'm asking you the question now. Given this circuit, 20 millihenry, 30 millihenry in series, and a core is there which causing the mutual inductance of 10 millihenries between them. Given this circuit, what is the current? Okay. What was the current in the problem 1? Some 6.67 amperes was the current. Okay, the angle was minus 90 degrees. That's okay because it's pure inductance. Okay. Now we are hoping that current will reduce because of the mutual inductance. Okay. So what is the current now? So again you do the same thing. Just write it as J6, J9. Okay, these two we already know. Okay, this is now in ohms. Now the mutual is how much? 10 into 10 milli into 300 because omega is 300. So it is 3 ohms. Okay. So J3 I'll write it between these two. Just using arrows, something like that I'll write it. Okay. So an impedance of J3 ohms is appearing because of this coil on this coil and also because of this coil on the other coil. So it actually this 3 appears 2 times. Okay. So if I actually write it now, so the current or the total impedance XT will be X11, okay, self inductance of the first coil plus X12. So that I could give a notation as mutual inductance of inductance because of the coil 2 on coil 1, something like that, plus X21 and then X22. Okay. So the normal, if you look at the textbooks, they typically use M for mutual inductance. Okay. So anyway, so now this will be something like J6, J I'll take common, 6 plus 3 plus 3 plus 9. Okay. So this total will be now how much? 15 plus 6, 21, J21. Okay. Therefore, the current now will be V by impedance. Okay. Impedance is nothing but XT only because there is no resistance. So 100 volts angle 0 degrees divided by J21 ohms. Okay. So this will be 4.76 amperes, angle is minus 90 degrees. Okay. So this is the new current. Okay. So what did you learn? Just by introducing a core and introducing mutual coupling, you have increased the impedance and increased the reactance, and therefore the current is reduced. Okay. Okay. So now the doubt is mutual inductance can be plus or minus. Okay. So how do you know it is plus or minus? What is the sign of the mutual inductance? That's a good question. Okay. That also depends on how you connected the coils. Okay. Last time also we discussed. So this is a solution for the second problem, but let's do that discussion now. I take a core like this and then I give a winding like this. So this is my first winding. Second winding also I'll give the same way. Okay. So this is the first coil and second coil. Okay. So if this is the case, so whenever there is a current I entering this node, okay, what will happen? This current I will set up magnetic field in towards right or towards left. So you can use your right hand rule. So the current is going like this, so it will be like this. Inside the core, the flux will be this way. Okay. So the same flux will also link like this to the other coil also. Okay. Now assume that these two are connected in series. Okay. So this current is entering, current is leaving, so again current is entering, again going like this. So this will be, so I can write this as flux of first coil, flux of second coil, both will be adding to each other. Okay. So if the fluxes are adding to each other, in that case I can use this plus sign for 3. Okay. So here it is plus. Okay. How do you connect such that the fluxes are opposing each other? So what you do is, this wire you take it here, and then this wire you connect it straight, okay, like this. So in this case, the mutual the fluxes are opposing each other, and then they will do that. Okay. So let's do a problem like that. In fact, it is my third problem. Okay. So I'll write now third problem. Just that I remove this electrical connection. The core is still there, nothing is changed. This wire I'll connect it here. Okay, and then this wire I will connect it here. Okay. So the core is still there. The mutual inductance still 0.41, and then mutual inductance still same. Okay. Now how do you solve the problem? So it's again very simple. So I can write it minus J3, or actually I should keep it J3 only. So let's do the circuit like this. And then connect it like this. Okay, so you get the picture. Okay, so now here you just put 2 minus signs here. Okay, so what has happened? This 6, 3, 3 gets cancelled. So here total will be 9, J9. Then here this will become 9, and now the second, that is the first answer. Second answer was 4.47 amperes. Okay. Now what is the current? I think 11.11. 11.11 amperes. Okay, minus 90 degrees. So this is the current has increased. Okay, increased from even from the first case. This is without coupling. This is with positive coupling. That is with negative coupling. The fluxes are getting cancelled out. So the current is now 11.11 amperes. Okay. Now I want to introduce something called as dot convention. Dot convention. See, the problem is this is a circuit diagram, so it's like a physical. It's a layout of a physical diagram. Okay, so every time I don't want to draw like this, and then it becomes very difficult to draw. Okay, so what I want to do is I'll simply draw like this. So I draw two circuits, two coils which are in series. But then to give the information whether they are adding their fluxes or separating their fluxes, I can put dots. Okay, so this is one case, and then this is another case, like this. So fluxes adding, and then here subtracting. Okay, so how do you understand this is? Let me write the dot convention here. You can also write down. So current entering at dot of one coil will induce EMF, will induce positive EMF at dot of other coil. So this is the dot convention. So what is happening is, whenever the flux is, we are all discussing the AC circuits, so flux is alternating, the changing flux induces EMF. The sign of that EMF will be like this. Current entering at dot of one coil will induce EMF at the dot of other coil. Will induce positive EMF. Okay. So how do you apply it? So now look at the first one. Assume that current is entering like this. Okay. So if the current is entering the dot here, here the voltage drop will be plus minus. This current is inducing positive voltage here and negative voltage here. Okay. That means if I go from here to here, voltage is dropping. Okay. If the voltage is dropping, you know how to handle it in your Kirchhoff's voltage law, KVL, this thing. Okay. So this is the high voltage side and this is the low voltage side if the current is entering here. Okay. Or the same logic, the same current is entering here. Okay. If the current is entering here, because of that flux, the voltage here will be positive and negative. Okay. So again, this voltage is again dropping like this. Anyway, you will see the example problems later on, how the dot convention is used and all. And this one also, if the current is entering here, the voltage will be plus here and minus here, because wherever the dot it is entering, plus you have to keep it. So I don't want to confuse you, but then suppose in a particular circuit diagram, you notice that the current is like this, leaving the dot. Okay. Then for the other dot, you put minus. Okay. So just to be consistent. Okay. So if the current is entering at a dot of one coil, then it will induce positive EMF at the dot of the other coil. So two dots are important there. Okay. So is that okay? Okay, so the question is, how is the dot related to your winding? In what way you are winding and all these things? Okay, so I mean, it's not that relevant now. See, I can do two ways. See, I can do like this, winding in the same direction. Sorry, like this, and then connecting series. Okay. Or I can do like this also. I can wind in the reverse direction. So I can get it from back. Okay. So you notice this is clockwise, or this is one direction. Okay, let me complete the diagram and then we can discuss. So this is connected here and then this is connected here. Okay. See, there are two ways. There are two variables here. Which side I connect and which direction I rotate, I wind. Okay. So four combinations will be there. So this is connecting starting, ending, starting, ending. Okay. Here starting, ending, starting, ending. So connecting the two endings and then taking the starting point as the outside terminals. This is one way of doing it. So similarly, this, let's say this is winding in clockwise direction. This is winding in this is also clockwise and anti-clockwise. Okay. So two ways you can wind, two ways you can connect. Okay. So we don't worry about that. Okay. When I draw the circuit and introduce the dots in the circuit diagram, it's just a schematic layout. The dots itself will tell you whether they are adding fluxes or separating fluxes. Okay. Now let's go to fourth problem. Okay. So let's problem number 4. Okay. So I am having parallel connection. This is the voltage. Okay. Now the core is something like this. Okay. You can imagine core to be bending, or even if they are on a straight line core, you can still connect them in parallel. Okay, how do you connect them in parallel? See, this is the core, this is winding 1, this is winding 2. Starting, ending, starting, ending. So what do? You take 2 startings here and then take 2 endings here, and then you connect to the voltage supply. This is parallel connection. Okay, you can do that. Okay, and again, depending on the direction of the winding, the fluxes may be adding or subtracting, we don't know. So in this diagram, I'll just give something like this. Okay. So now we no longer talk about whether the fluxes are adding or subtracting. We'll look at it in the diagram. Based on that, we can do it. Okay. So 20 millihenries, 30 millihenries, and mutually 10 millihenries, 100 volts. Again, the question is, what is I? What is the total current? Okay. So how do you solve this problem? See, if I don't give this mutual coupling, you can solve the problem that you already studied. Now with the mutual coupling, how do you solve the problem? Let me use this place. See, this is J 6 ohms. This is J 9 ohms. Okay, and this is voltage. Okay, so then there is this J 10 ohms, and then I'll put 2 dots here. Okay, if you compare that diagram, this diagram, nothing changed, just that I converted from millihenries to ohms. Okay. Sorry, J 3 ohms. So J 3 ohms, correct. Now what you do is, it's very simple. Instead of finding I, you find out what is I1 and what is I2. Find out I1, I2, then add them, you will get the I. Okay, that's an easier way of doing it. Instead of finding total impedance and all this. Okay, what is the impedance of the first branch? Impedance of the first branch. So here it gets little tricky. See, I2 is flowing in, let's talk about the first one. Okay, this is 100, 0 degrees. So I mark this point as, okay, so these all points are same. So I take this route, the upper route. Okay, so applying Kirchhoff's voltage law for the upper route, so I'll get 100 volts equal to, okay, I1 multiplied by J6. Okay, I1 multiplied by J6. Okay, this is a voltage drop, amperes into ohms, volts. Okay, now plus or minus, we'll decide whether it is plus or minus later on. It will be I2 multiplied by J3. Okay, because this is the voltage drop because of I2 flowing in the second coil, but not the entire 9 ohms. I should take only 3 ohms because that is a mutual impedance. Okay, now is it clear? Okay, like this, I2 multiplied by J3. Okay, voltage drop because of the second I2 current flowing in the other coil, that is inducing the voltage here. That should be equal to 100 volts. Okay, now applying Kirchhoff's voltage law of the second branch, so 100 volts should also be equal to I1 multiplied by J3. This will have plus or minus. Okay, and then here it will be plus I2 multiplied by J9. Okay, now let's talk about plus or minus. Okay, so now the current entering the dot, all of you see here, current entering the dot here will induce positive voltage at the other dot. Okay, so here it will be plus minus. Okay, if the voltage is reducing, then I should use the minus sign in the Kirchhoff's voltage law. Okay, so that is the thing. Current I2 is entering to this dot, so it will induce positive voltage at this point and negative voltage at that point, and KVL. So I'm just repeating the same thing. So in this case I should use plus or minus. Yeah, because this equal to is there, I should keep on other side, it goes to the other side, it will become plus. So the same logic here also, it will be plus. Okay. Now how do you solve this? You look at it, it's like a matrix. Okay, so I get something like this. So I'll write it I1 I2 equal to 100 100, and this is 6 3 3 9. Okay, two unknowns, two equations. Okay, J and all the things we'll take care of it later. Okay, two unknowns, two equations, you should be able to solve it. Okay. How much will be that? What? So I'll double the second equation. So this will be 6 and 18, and this will be 200. Okay, then I'll from second I'll remove the first. So this will be minus minus minus. Okay, so then this will cancel, and then this will be 15. Is that the right way of doing it? Yeah, 15. So 15 I2 equal to 2 equal to 100. Can I write like this? Is that correct? So I2 will be 100 by 15, that is 6.67. Okay, the same thing that we did earlier. And what is I1? So based on this you can calculate. How do you calculate I1? How do you calculate I1? So I2 is 100 by 15. So 5 times. 500 means 20 times. So the 20 will separate from here, 80. 80 by 6. Okay. So I1 will be 80 by 6. So it will be 1, and then 20 means, yeah, 13.33. Okay. So I'll write it here. But what is our actual final answer? So again, so this will be minus 90 degrees. This will also be minus 90 degrees because with respect to the voltage. So this total will be 20. So I'll write the answer here. 20 minus 90 degrees. This will be 6.67 minus 90 degrees, and then this will be 13.33 minus 90 degrees. Is that correct? Or, oh sorry, it's the other way. 13.33 here, and then 6.67 here. Okay. So is there any doubt up till here? Okay, now I'll ask you now something very strange, very interesting. Now have a look at it. We are still on the same problem. So imagine somebody connected a circuit like this, and then they are running the circuit, currents are flowing. You put an ammeter here, you measure 6.67 amperes, put an ammeter here, you are measuring like that. Okay. Then I want to do some kind of accounting for reactive power. Okay. Accounting of reactive power. Okay. Q is the symbol for reactive power. Okay. So what is the total reactive power supplied? See, because there is no resistance anywhere, active power is 0, so there is no R. But whatever power is there, reactive power. Okay, reactive power supplied. Okay, how much is that? How do you know what is the reactive power supplied? So what is power? Voltage into current is power. Okay, so the voltage is 100 and the current is 20 and the angle is 90 degrees. So the entire product will be imaginary, okay, because this is J. So entire power will be reactive power. Okay, so our source is supplying 2000. So 20 into 100 volts, 2000 watts. Okay, total power supplied is V into I, that is 100 into 20, that is 2000 watts. Okay, these are lagging watts because reactive power. Now that is what is released by the source. Okay, now the question we are asking is which one is consuming how much? Which of the coil is consuming how much of reactive power? Because the total should add to 2000. Okay, so how do you account for it? So let me write down the. So 20 millihenry is nothing but J6. This is J3 and this is J9. Okay. So if you notice through this simple example, I am trying to convey some concepts. Okay. What is I square into X? Current square into reactive, this one. This is nothing but reactive power. Okay. If you do I square into X here, what happens? So 13.33 square into J6, if you do it, what do you get it? I'm just trying. Okay. So I'm doing all the I square into X. 13 point, so I'll write it I1 square into X1. Okay. How much is that? 13.33 square into 6. So just I'm dropping the J for this thing. How much is that? 13.33 square into 6. Okay, 1066.1. Okay, we'll not worry about that. Okay, here again I square into X for the, or I'll write it I2 square into X2. Okay, what is that? So 6.67 square into J9 or just 9. How much is that? 400 watts. Okay, so total so far we are getting only 6641. Okay, not matching to 2000 watts. So some remaining watts are still being consumed. So some obviously you might have guessed something to do with this J3. Okay. So what are these watts? Watts consumed by coil 1 because of self-inductance of coil 1. Okay. So watts consumed because of this also we will be adding now. So what you do now is I1 square X2, I2 square X1. Sorry, not X2. This is X21 and X12. Okay, or some other way. Okay, something like that you have to do. So again, so basically what I am saying is just add 33.33 square into 3 and again 6.67 square into 3. Okay. How much is that? How much? 533 watts. Okay. What about this one? 133 watts. We are getting again something more. Can you check it once again? Is this correct? Total is adding more than 2000. Oh, I think sign we have to change it. I don't think so. Not because of approximations. Because see, if I just only take these two, this is, if I don't take this, then it is fine. So yeah, something like that. It's not I1 square into x21 or some other more complex formula. I think I1 into I2 into, I think it is something like this. Try this I1 into I2 into x into 2. Just try this combination. I1 into I2 into x into 2. Not individually squaring, because so how much is that? This is, I think this is the correct way of putting it. I1 into I2 into x into 2. Okay. So basically a square, b square, 2ab. Okay. This is 2ab. So that's the use of that formula. Okay. So this will come to 533. Now you add it. So it will be 9, 9 and then 9 and 1. So what happened to that remaining one is rounding error, if it is 1. Okay. So the reactive power because of mutual coupling between two coils, okay, is the product of both the currents multiplied by the mutual impedance. Okay. Current of one coil into current of the other coil into mutual impedance, again that is 2 times. Okay, so this is about reactive power. Okay. This was problem 4. Okay. Now can you imagine how we'll change to problem 5? What will be the problem 5 based on this? So I'll just shift the dot from here to here. Just shifting the dot. Okay. So what is happening? The current here flowing like this. That means I have rearranged my coil connections. So the current flowing like this will induce a positive voltage here and negative voltage here. So that way it will change. Okay. So without doing anything, can you tell whether the current will increase or decrease? The total current. Total current will increase or decrease? So let me put problem 5. This we don't know. This we don't know. And this also we don't know. Okay. Shall we quickly work out what was the matrix last time? So 6 into I1, minus 3 into I2, then again minus 3 into I1 and then 9 into I2. So that's all will be the change. Okay. So to find out I1, I2, so this is I1, this is I2, this is I. So what is the inverse of this matrix? So I can say twice rho 2 plus rho 1. Okay. So then this will be 0 because I am doubling this, adding here, doubling this, adding here. So this will be 15 and this will be minus 3, 9. So I1, I2 twice rho 2 plus R1. So this will be 300. Okay. So this says 15 into I2 is 100. Still same. 15 into I2 is 300. Okay. Correct. 15 I2 is equal to 300. So I2 will be 300 by 15. So it will be 20. Yeah. 20 amperes. So I2 itself is 20 now. Okay. Okay. So what will be I1? So if I2 is 20, so if this is 20, so minus 3 into 20 is minus 60. Okay, 6 into I1, minus 60 goes to the other side, it becomes plus 60. So 160 divided by 6. Okay, so 160 divided by 6. So 6, 2 is 12, 40, 6 is 36. So something like this. Okay, 26.66 amperes. Okay, 20 amperes, 26.66 amperes, minus 90 degrees, minus 90 degrees, I am not writing. This will be 46.66 amperes. Okay, so current has increased. Okay, so in the series connection with opposing fluxes, the current was reducing. No, current was increasing there also. Yeah, basically wherever there is a opposing of fluxes are cancelling out, and therefore reactance is reducing, current is increasing. Okay. Okay, now can we quickly do the other thing? So can you just get your calculators ready? What is Q supplied? Nothing but V into I, that is nothing but 100 into 46.67. Okay, how much is that? 4667 vars. Okay, now what is Q1, Q2 and then Q12? Okay, so Q1 will be I1 square x, which is nothing but 26.66 square into J6. Okay, whereas this is I2 square x2, that will be how much will be 20 square into 9. Okay, this will be I1, I2 and then your x, xm. I'll write it mutual x, and this will be 2 times because it is affecting 2 places. So that will be 2 into 26.66 into 20 into 3. Okay. So how much is this? Yeah, of course, yes, it will be minus. So, yeah. So it will be minus because of the way it is connected and all these things. So this should be more than 4.667, and then this should compensate it. So how much is this? 400 into 9, 3600. Okay. So 26.67 square. See, 25 square is 625. So I am guessing 26.67 square will be something like 4267. Okay. So at least the addition of these two is 7867. So this is the addition of these two, but it is more than this. So hopefully this should come. How much is this? Minus 3200. So if I minus 3200, then I'll again get back 4667. So which is equal to this one. Okay. See, you can do the same thing with introducing small resistance. It will completely, see, conceptually it is same thing, but see what happens if I put a 1 ohm here and then 2 ohms here. Okay, nothing changes. You know KCL, you know KVL, you do everything same thing. Your matrix will be, it will have real and imaginary components in your matrix. Okay, I and I1, I2 will be again complex. I cannot add directly these two numbers because angles will be slightly different. So all the things, maybe you can program it in a computer and all this thing, whatever. Just by introducing some resistances, it will make it much more complicated, but concept I am explaining. So this is problem 5. Okay. So what else can we do? We still have about half an hour, so we can do something more in terms of studying magnetically coupled circuits. What? Let's do something like this. What I do is have a circuit like this. I am directly giving J6, J9 and then J3. Okay, so this is 100 volts, 0 degrees. Okay, so now I am asking, and this is, let's say, 5 ohms. So I am just I1, I2, whatever. Okay, so see, I have two coils. Okay, I have two coils which are not electrically connected. All the examples before, either is a series connection or there is a parallel connection. They are not electrically connected, but they are magnetically connected. Some core is there in between them, and introducing a mutual inductance. Okay, will this thing work? Will it really be able to see the moment some current is flowing in a secondary coil or the second coil? There will be some I square R losses, some power is lost here. Then suddenly the question comes, who is supplying that power? Whenever there is a power, we cannot generate somewhere that source has to become. So what is happening is, there is a voltage, some current, and the electrical energy converted to magnetical energy. That through magnetism the energy is transferred and then received on the other side, and then it is getting consumed in the resistor, like that. Okay. So if you solve the problem, should I2 be 0 or more than 0? Okay, so we'll see. So how much I2 will be and all depends on how strongly these two are magnetically coupled. Okay, so let's just for the fun, let's try to solve it. Okay, so you can easily write the what you call these equations. Okay, Kirchhoff's voltage laws. Okay, see, I have given all the information. Okay, so one equation I'll get from left side, one equation I'll get from the right side. Okay, so Kirchhoff's voltage law for this one. Okay, so this is plus minus. I start from here, so my voltage is increasing. Okay, so 100 volts increasing is nothing but the voltage drops here. So what are the voltage drops? The voltage drop here is how much? I1 into J6. Okay, so 100 is equal to I1 into J6. This is one voltage. Okay, there is another voltage. Whatever I2 is flowing in this 9, the I2 will get multiplied with J3 and then either added or subtracted from this. Okay, so here let's assume that because these two are positive, so here voltage will be positive. You can actually consider it anyway. So if I consider I2 direction like this, I2 entering the dot will induce a positive voltage which will oppose the main voltage. So even that will be positive here. Okay, so take care of the sign. That's what I am saying. So I2 into J3. Okay, there is no change here. Okay, so the current in the secondary coil multiplied by the mutual reactance will have some voltage here that will be consumed from this. Okay, so this is the KVL for the first one. Okay, what is the KVL for the second one? 0 volts equal to, because there is no voltage source here, so if I drop the voltage from here to here, it will be I2 into J9 plus I2 into J5, or I2 into just 5, there is no J here, active power. Okay, plus I1 into J3. Okay, this will be plus because this was plus, so this also will be plus. Okay, So again I got two unknowns, two equations, I can solve them. Okay. So I have 100 and 0 is equal to, so here I should be careful with j's. Okay, j6 plus j3 multiplied by I1, and here it will be j3, and then here it will be 5 plus j9. Okay, I2. Okay, this is a complex matrix. How do you invert a complex matrix? So you can actually do it, you know, you can use MATLAB or you can use a computer or some way to invert a complex matrix. You can do it. So it's doable. Shall we find an easier way? How do you do it? Is it possible to cancel this 5 some way? Whatever you multiply, that you will not be able to cancel the 5, okay, because there is no real number on the other side. Okay. What can we do? Shall we make this one 0? So multiply second row by 2 and then subtract it from the 1. Okay. 2 into R2, okay, with a minus, and then add it to R1. Okay. Let's see whether we'll be able to do it. Okay. What do I get? This is doubled and then subtracted. So 100 equal to double this and subtract from this. So I'll get 0. Okay. Double this and subtract from this. So what do I get? Minus 10 minus j15. Okay. I1, I2. Double this. Yeah, that's all we've done. So I think with this I can find I2. Okay. So 100 equal to minus of 10 plus j15 into I2. Okay. So I2 will be 100 by 10 plus j15. So can someone give the answer for this? $100 by 10 plus j15. Okay. So what is 10 plus j15? Convert to polar, and then you can try to do that. If you have a complex calculator, it is very easy. In the lack of complex calculator, I can do 15 square under root. We'll come back to angle later. How much? 5.5. And what will be the angle? Minus? Okay, minus 56. Okay, but then there is a minus sign in the outside, so also take care of it. So if I use that minus sign in the outside, you have to add 180 degrees here. Okay, so plus 180 degrees. Basically, I am flipping the phasor to the other direction. So how much is this? 24, 124. Is it like this? Is it okay? So using this, can you find what is I1? So again, substitute I2 here, multiply with J3, then subtract it from 100 and then divide by J6, you will get it I1. So some calculation you need to do. Okay. So for the time being, I'll just to save time, I'll just not go with calculation of I1. I'll give it as an exercise. I1 equal to question. Okay. So maybe once we calculate it, we can update it later. Now, see this I2 is flowing 5.5 amperes. Okay, what is the power here? 5.5 square into R. So how much is this? See, this is power consumed by this 5 ohm resistance. How much is this? So I don't need the angle for this because I square I am doing. Okay? 5.5 square into 5. Can someone quickly calculate and let me know? How much? 151.25 watts. Okay. So this is real power, actual power generating some heat here or whatever. If you put a light, light will glow and all these things. Okay. So somehow this power has transmitted from this coil to the other coil through the interaction of that magnetism. Okay. And it is possible. So that's what I was trying to emphasize here. Okay. Now at least I can find out what is the active component of the power, because there is no power loss here or in the core or whatever, because we are not worried about that. So at least the active current I can find out. Okay. That means see this I1 will be I1A plus I1J, I1BJ, whatever. It will be real component, reactive component. The real component I can tell. You know, just divide by 100 and square root. You will get it. So I'll leave it for you to calculate this one and let me know. See, you can also do the entire accounting. Okay, how much active power is supplied by this source? How much active power is consumed here? So that should match. 151.25 should come here also. Okay. Similarly, how much of reactive power supplied from this? The reactive power supplied from this should match the reactive power consumed here, and because of the mutual inductance. All of these things should match. Okay. So the application of this problem itself is like the transformer. Okay. So you notice another thing. What is the voltage drop here? What is the voltage drop in this resistance? So I into R. So 5 into 5.55. Okay. Approximately 27 or something volts. Okay. So 27 volts. See, actually my supply is 100 volts, but my load requires only 27 volts. So I can use this kind of mechanism to convert a high voltage source to a smaller voltage source. So something like that. So if I say that this is a special some kind of a radio or some kind of a speaker which should not accept more than 30 volts. Okay, the maximum voltage I handle is only 30 volts. If I directly connect, then this will burn. Okay, so I do this arrangement and then connect that one, then it is able to work. Okay, so something like that. But anyway, I still leave it as a example for you to try it out. Okay, so but we still have some time, so let's go for the next problem. Okay, so what can be the next problem? Problem 7. Okay, what can be problem 7? What? Yeah, so the same problem we can repeat with a dot on the other side. That's a good thing. So let's call it problem 6B or something like that. Problem 7, I want to do something new so that, you know, it's even more interesting. Okay. So what I can do, so are you ready? So something like this. Okay. So how is this interesting? So I can have some kind of coupling between 3 coils also. Need not be only 2. Okay. So let's say there is a 1 or 10 millihenries here, and then there is a 20 millihenries here, and then there is, I'll reduce it, 5 millihenries here, okay, and then there is, this itself has 30 millihenries, 40 millihenries, and then 50 millihenries, okay, and then some kind of connection, okay. These two may be in series, this may be in parallel with the entire thing, okay. That's another level of this thing. So just to make it simple, I'll just connect everything in series. So dots also I'll give it, okay. So let me just draw it once again here, okay. The same thing. So the question is, seventh question is find again the same thing, find current, okay. I connect to a 100 volts, 300 radians per second, okay. This is my source, AC source. What will be the current, okay. So how much is the impedance here? 30 millihenries. That means it will be J9, because my omega is 300, okay. This is 40 millihenries. That means this will be J12. This is 50 millihenries. This will be J15, okay. Mutual between these two will be 10 millihenries. That means J3. Mutual between these two will be J6, and mutual between these two will be, so J1.5, okay. So how do you avoid having this decimal? I'll change this, okay. So this is supposed to multiply with, just make it 10 itself, okay. 10 into 3, or we'll keep it 1.5. 5 millihenries, we'll keep it 1 because they are far away from each other, okay. And the dots are like this, and the question is find total current I. That is the seventh question, okay. Find the total current. So how do you find the total current? So again you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. So here what is happening is, there is a voltage drop because of this current here, and because of the current here multiplied by J3, there is another voltage drop. Because of this current multiplied by current in this multiplied by this, there is another voltage drop. So like that. So shall I write it here? See, 100 equal to I multiplied by, I get all the terms, okay. One is J9, that is this one, plus J1.5 plus J3. I am able to write this because I is same for all, okay. Or just let me give a generalized this one. I notate this one as I1, this one as I2, this one as I3, okay. I1, I2, I3. But we all know, because they are series connected, I1 equal to I2 equal to I3 equal to I, we all know that. Just for notation purpose I am writing. So 100 equal to I1 into J9, okay, I1 flowing in J9, plus I2, okay, I2 into J3, okay, J3 plus I3 into J1.5. So this whole thing is the voltage drop in the first coil, okay, plus voltage drop in the second coil. What is the voltage drop in the second coil? I2 into J12 plus I1 into J3 plus I3 into J6, because that is a mutual between these two. I3 into J6. This is voltage drop in the second coil. Voltage drop in the third coil. What is that? I3 into J15. This is a voltage drop because of self inductance. Voltage drop because of mutual inductance with first coil. I1 into J1.5. Okay, plus I2 into J6. Okay. So now all i's are same because luckily it is series connected. Okay. So what you can do, I can take I common. So 9, how much is that? 12, 13.5, like that you can keep on adding 13.5, 12, so and so on. You can keep adding, then you will get it. Okay. So that is easier problem. Okay. So you can just reverse one of the dots. Okay. If I reverse this dot, what will happen? Current entering here will induce positive voltage here. Okay. So therefore I1 into J9, sorry, I1 entering here will induce positive voltage here. So this should be minus. Okay. Because this side I put the dot. Similarly, current entering here will also induce positive voltage this side. So even this should be negative. Okay. Now we have taken the account of the voltages here. Now look in this one. Okay. So the current leaving the dot will induce negative voltage here. So again here also it becomes minus. Okay. So this I3 term will again become minus. Similarly, there is no change here. Now in this term also this will be minus. Okay. So basically wherever I3 is there you will find that there is a minus sign. Okay. So basically I have told you the dot convention, I have told you Kirchhoff's voltage law. So based on that you have to choose the signs properly. Okay. And what if there is instead of connections like this, if I connect it this way, so I'll draw it here, coil 1, coil 2, coil 3. If I connect like this, okay. So this is J9, J12 and J15, same thing. Physically they are same, just the connections are different. So between these two is J3, between these two is J1.5 and between these two is J6. Okay. Mutual impedance is also same. Only thing is now I have to find the total current V. Okay. So here you got one equation. So here you will get two equations. So one equation for IA, another equation for IB. Okay. So IA, IB. So IA into all these things, you will get two equations, two unknowns. So take it as problem number 8. Okay. Problem number 8 is such that the same coils are the same, their mutual impedances, everything are the same. I forgot to give you the dots, so let the dots be like this. Okay. So in the equation what you write? For this one, 100 equal to IA into J9, okay, and then this voltage here, okay, IB into J1.5. So like that you will write it. Okay. So it's not too complicated. It's complicated in the terms of it's tedious but not complicated. So you have to sit and write it and all these things. Okay. So two unknowns, two equations, you will get it, and luckily there are no resistances, so you will be able to solve it just by hand calculations also. So this is about the third version of it. Okay. I think with this I'll conclude. Maybe just one last problem I'll write down. Maybe because these are all numerical, let me ask you to do something algebraic. Okay. So just manipulation of symbols. Okay. So x1, x2, x3. Okay. So this is M12, M23, M31. Okay. This terminal is A, this terminal is B. Okay. The notation is Xi is self self reactance, if I can call it, self reactance of coil I. Okay, that means x1, x2, x3 are nothing but self reactances of each of the coil. Then Mij is mutual reactance of coil I and J. Okay, you understand it. I am just giving it. Okay. So if this data is given and the dots are given, okay, find total reactance. So XT. Okay. So total reactance, you will get some kind of function of all these things. Okay. Can somebody guess what it will be? Okay, so let's write it. X1 plus X2 plus X3 plus. Okay, so do you know this? So A square plus B square plus 2AB, 2BC, 2CA, like that. So that only we are getting here, mutual. Okay, something like that. 2 into M12, 2 into M23 plus 2 into M31 whatever. So M31 or 313. Okay. So this one is 9. I think answer also we have written here. Okay. Okay, just to make it round figure and we have just a little amount of time. I'll just write the 10th problem and then I'll give it as a homework. Okay. Again, this is a problem on mutually coupled circuits. See, it is like this. Okay, so 10 0 degrees and then 20 0 degrees. This is 1 ohm. This is minus J4. This is J6 and this is J9. Okay. Only difference will be there is a dot here and then there is a dot here. Okay. And the mutual I have to mention. So this will be J2. Okay. So if such a thing is given, how do you find out what is I1, what is I2? Okay. So you know how to solve it without this mutual term, but then how do you solve it with that? Okay. So it's again two equations, two unknowns. Okay. What you have to realize is some kind of energy transfer happens between these two. Either this is supplying some energy magnetically to this or this is supplying some energy magnetically to this. And the strange thing is that particular magnetic transfer, both active reactive power will be there in that. Okay, so try to solve it. Okay, solve I1 and I2. Okay. So with that I'll end today's class. So let's meet. I think next week we don't have lecture or